multiple times whenever I was like 5 or 6 would ask for certain terrifying toys for Christmas,
Yeah.
and I would be too frightened to play with them. Like there was like this, I don't know what who made like it was like Goosebumps like made like this skull that you could put clay on, and you would put snot in the brain, and you would press a button and snot would come out, and you had worms coming out of it.
Yeah.
It looked terrifying to a 5 or 6 year old. I saw that commercial, and the commercial was so good. I was like, yeah, I want that.
90s toys were just terrifying is what it was. What's good, Humbl3 Fam? How about y'all come on in and let's have us another visit here on the Humbl3 Show. I am Grant Fletcher, and I'm being joined as always by my co-hosts Moonbeam Hallows and Brandon Cox, and returning to the show this week is Retters Cosplay. There we all are. Thank you for being here, Retters, for a second time in a row last week to talk about AI art and the impact on the convention space. Really appreciate you doing that. A lot of people really got into that episode, so it's really dope. If you're listening to us now or watching us now and you haven't checked that episode out, make sure you go back to episode 45. It was a really good, really interesting time. But again, yeah, thanks for coming back for a second time, Retta.
Thanks for having me. It's kind of deja vu.
Yeah.
Moonbeam, Brandon, y'all were out last week. Do you want to explain yourselves?
Yeah, we just decided not to come on.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like, man, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah,
Grant, you say as always joined by them, but last week was not the case.
I know, it's just become kind of like the solid thing I say, so I can't deviate from it. If
yeah.
It's in the contract now that I have to say it.
Yeah,
Continuity. Yeah, I like that.
no, but Brandon and I went to see Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum.
Yeah. And Fawn Fables, as well as the other band. Anareth.
Okay, Anareth. I like how you were looking at your phone at the.
No, I got their cassette right here.
All their merch. Man.
I got their cassette. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Making a comeback, man. People are printing cassette. I don't know even what you say.
I got like 300 or 400.
cassettes.
I got like 300 or 400 tapes.
Yeah.
They
still make things that can play tapes. They got them.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that can play tapes.
I got one thing that can play tapes.
You want to go vintage because all of the modern devices that are manufactured today do not have all of the fancy Dolby Digital doodads on them. So it'll sound good, but it won't sound the best.
I can just pop it into my Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll even mouth the words as it plays it. Is that what they do? Do they mouth everything that you put in there?
No.
We've already investigated.
It would only mouth the books that came or the tapes that came with it. And then you could connect Grubby to it with a wire. I got Teddy Ruxpin and Grubby in the first grade for Christmas.
I remember, my friend Colin, who runs Brick and Bones over there in Dallas, that we've talked about on the show before, the great chicken place. Yeah. I remember from his childhood, he was scarred by his Teddy Ruxpin because, I'm sorry, he had like the grandpa Teddy Ruxpin, the older looking one, so he was like the decrepit one.
Oh my God!
His
Why
batteries were running out,
that?
and so his mouth just started moving, and he was making weird noises because it wasn't playing the tape right. So he just took it and threw it under his bed, and then every time he had to get out of bed from then on out, he would just leap as far as he could out of the bed and into the bed, so he wouldn't so that Grandpa Ruxpin wouldn't get him.
That is terrifying.
Here's the thing: I would want to ask, why would anybody get that version of this toy?
That's a good question.
But then I remember that I multiple times whenever I was like 5 or 6 would ask for certain terrifying toys for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I would be too frightened to play with them. Like there was this, I don't know who made it was like Goosebumps made this skull that you could put clay on, and you would put snot in the brain, and you would press a button and snot would come out, and you had worms coming out of it.
Yeah.
It looked terrifying to a 5 or 6 year old. I saw that commercial, and the commercial was so good. I was like, yeah, I want that. I really want that. Here's the
90s
thing.
toys
I was a
terrifying.
scaredy cat.
90s toys were just terrifying, is what it was. Like that's
Oh
really,
my god.
yeah.
It wasn't
We
quite
didn't know any better.
thankfully, the 70s, they ironed out the lawn darts, let's
True.
but yeah, the 90s things were terrifying.
Reddy, you know anything about lawn darts, baby?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm no idea what's going on right now.
Moonbeam, tell them about lawn darts.
Lawn darts were basically like daggers that you would throw at each other.
Like for real. Yeah.
No, they
Yeah.
were
Okay.
giant darts that you would play outside, hence the lawn darts, and you could kill somebody with them. It was
You
just like
could.
There was a kids chemistry set that was released in the late 60s, early 70s that had uranium in it. It was a very small amount of uranium,
Yeah.
but I mean, as you see these days, most things don't have uranium in it, and for good reason. I'm sure that there are a few conspiracy theorists out there who disagree, but that's my stance, and I'm sticking to it.
You can still get uranium glass at a thrift store if you know where to look.
God.
That's true.
I don't even know what uranium is, other than from this island Earth, they needed it in mass quantities.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
how you make yellow cake, and
Yeah.
yellow cake is how you make nuclear bombs.
Right.
Yeah.
So this episode's been flagged by YouTube already.
What was that
Oh
line
well.
in UHF? He's like, today we'll be learning how to make plutonium.
Yeah.
Household item.
Y'all, if you've never watched UHF, do yourself a favor. Go watch it. It's good. It's a good time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I've got homework to go do then.
Yeah, UHF, Retta. UHF. That's the one. That's the one this week. You get to drink from the fire hose. Yeah. It's so good.
Fire hose! You found the marble in the oatmeal.
So yeah, I like how we're just throwing references at Retta that she's never heard before. Now,
Yeah.
I do
I'm
thank you for
just
coming on
here.
because
I'm
we were talking
chilling.
about last week about like AI and artwork and how like artists now like need to show their work and they're showing their work. And Moonbeam, you're an artist yourself and like I think yes something like that. She says,
I'm an effing hack.
you do like real like physical art and you do digital art.
Yeah. No, I mostly draw in a sketchbook that nobody ever sees, and
Okay.
I also paint on little tiny canvases.
Yeah.
That I occasionally will post.
You should post them more often.
You should, yeah. It's dope.
I love seeing your
It's a
stuff.
good look.
I had somebody write me and was like, "So what's the deal with?" And it made some, and I was just like, "Should I say something smart ass, or should I just tell them to mind their own business, or should I?"
If you
just,
can't
like,
appreciate the vibes,
well, and it's just it's like I don't know what the deal is, but actually everything I have an answer for.
Right.
It's just what mood have you caught me in when you
True.
ask,
Which answer? I think
what do you need today?
I think one time, Moonbeam, you asked me about like recording a radio spot or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, what would be your rate for, this or whatever? And I responded, well, if you have to ask, then it's too much.
that is how you get jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me. I went to the same trip I went to the Bahamas with my dad, where he threw me off the jet ski.
Yeah, which is a great story.
Yeah.
It's
We
in our
also-
shorts. Go back and watch it.
We also went to a. This is terrible, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We went to a topless show,
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
but this story that I'm about to tell has nothing to do with other than it was at that topless show. It
Okay.
was like a show and dinner, like a dinner and a show.
literally.
Yeah, but it was and after about 45 seconds, it gets boring. The show. But what I'm telling you the story is the menu didn't have any prices. And I remember leaning over to my
Uh-oh.
aunt and saying, "How do you know how much anything is?" And by the way, I was 13. and she was said, "Well, if you have to ask, you can't afford it."
I'm not paying for it, lady.
Not paid. Not paying for anything ever.
I wonder what the most unappealing food is to be served alongside nudity.
Pancakes and fried eggs.
Spaghetti.
I
Spaghetti.
I was thinking chocolate pudding with no spoon.
Just got to use your finger for that, right?
Exactly. And like the pretty ladies
story.
on stage, they're doing their thing. They're having their fun time. And they look at the crowd.
Imagine making eye contact.
You're just like, God. I wonder how long I get my tongue in that.
What?
So, Retta, we're talking about showing your work. And anyway,
edit all that out, Grant.
we're not editing anything.
Don't edit any of that
none out. This is gold. Are you kidding me?
Edit stuff out. He's like, all right.
I'll be right back. I gotta go.
I usually do. Y'all have no idea the kind of things that have been said on the show. Brandon is excusing himself for a moment, so we'll cut away. Anyway, like we said, Retta, we're talking about showing your work, right?
Right.
And because one of the things we mentioned a little bit is last week, like if you want to win a craftsmanship contest, you have got to actually, I don't know what happened. You shifted over here. Oh, I see what happened. You've got to actually have some kind of like proof that you made it.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So like, what are you looking for? Like how are people supposed to prove that they made something?
Okay, so something that's really important in craftsmanship contests and something that we recommend every contestant bring is to bring a build book, which is essentially a documentation of everything you did on a cosplay, in like, order of, say you have a prop, you show like kind of where you started, how you ended up, progress photos in between, print sheets out, put it in a book, hand it to the judges, and that allows us, because in prejudging we really only have anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes. 4 minutes is kind of generous, and that does not give us enough time to go over the beautiful cosplay that's in front of us and all the work that's been poured into it. And so a build book allows us to see, pictures say 1,000 words, they really do. So it allows us to see more than what we can learn from your cosplay in just 2 to 4 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to include every little detail. If the cosplay judges, you can assume that they know the basics of sewing, they know the basics of armor and whatnot. We don't need to see like, oh, you cut the fabric out and you attach the sleeve to the bodice, but show the things that are important, show the things in the middle of making something, because those photos will give you credibility. And so besides the build book, just being able to know terminology, being able to say like, oh, I use a serger for these serged seams. Because a serger is very specific. They clean up the seams that are typically like inside of your t-shirts and whatnot is where you'll see those kind of seams. They're not seams to be seen on the outside of a garment. They're typically seams to be finished on the inside. And so if you have serged seams, we know what those are. But if you can't tell us these seams are serged, that's going to sound a little fishy. Did you buy this? Did you commission it? So just being able to talk about your work and use like correct terminology, be able to say, this is this material, this is this technique. Every little bit of that helps give you credibility.
Yeah. And I guess to clarify, you don't want to just have this documented on like your Instagram or anything, right? Because it's way easier for you to flip through it if you have that physical book, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Because we'll typically ask like, hey, can we keep this and look at it while we are deliberating after prejudging? So yeah, something printed out. It does not have to be fancy. I'm a graphic designer, but it does not have to be anything nicely designed. Just, label it prop, photos. We don't have time to read like a wall of text as much as we would love to like fawn over your cosplay. We don't have time to read a bunch. So just nice organized photos, printed on even just regular copy paper is fine. Put them in like a folder or a binder, something cheap that we can keep. Feel free to come pick it up after the contest, but they don't always come back and pick them up. But yeah, some people will like hand us their phones, but then us looking at photos on phones kind of takes away from the face-to-face interaction during prejudging.
Yeah.
So we definitely prefer.
Honestly, coming up.
Sorry, what?
When they're getting like just
yeah,
text coming up.
Yeah.
Push them up.
And especially like we feel awkward holding someone's phone. We don't want to swipe too far.
Right.
That just gets a little awkward. So yeah, just something printed out that's just cheap, that's nice, that, if you don't come back and pick it up, you're not losing anything over, really.
Yeah, and it could just be like one sheet of paper, like with like...
Yeah, basically, for sure. Just however many pages to give us the gist of the chronological order of making your cosplay.
So I'm not trying to gush, but clearly, like anybody who has ever made cosplay, they have an amalgamation of skills from various skills that most people don't even really recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever, as a judge or just someone who has asked somebody, "Hey, what about what you have?" Have you ever come across somebody who had an inordinate amount of like knowledge about a subject? What am I trying to say? Like they had a very large amount of knowledge about a subject that it kind of like, oh, I had no idea that this could have been introduced to this.
Oh, all the time. And that's the beautiful thing about cosplaying and especially competing is with craftsmanship, people have so many niches and can get into so many different technical aspects of it. And you can learn so much from talking to cosplayers, just the intricacies of beadwork, the intricacies of like historical costumes is insane. And the historical cosplayers, they do so much research and they will even use techniques that are harder to do, and modern techniques are like easier, more convenient, but because they're going historical, they'll use the historical like way to do something. So I'm amazed with everyone I meet and everyone I get to talk to.
We had at Mobile Bay, it had to have been the first or second year we did it. There was a guy there, and it was an original character, but he had made like everything that he out of like steel, like it was steel. And I was like, "How'd you make that?" And he was like, "Oh, I got a plasma cutter." And I was like, "Okay." And
that's serious.
Yeah. He had like grown his hair into dreads and then like cut the dreads and used them as like tassels on his.
That's hardcore.
Whoa.
It was so cool.
That almost sounds. It almost sounds
like a brother that was also like decked out and like this armor that they had made, and his brother was like, "No, I just do it for fun. I'm not going to enter the costume contest." And I was like, "Please." He was like, "Yeah, it's not my thing."
Oh my gosh.
Really
I think.
I
remember this guy. I remember this guy. Yeah, and here's the thing, because it's so crazy. Like I talked to this guy and I told him the same thing. Like, what are you doing with your life? Join the contest. And he's like,
no kidding.
Nah, I'm cool guy number one. I already know it. And see, here's the thing. Had I not met this guy, I would have said that it's my friend Jared. He does not make the costumes himself, but his wife makes the most impeccable like metalwork costumes. Like they go to Ren fairs and they look like they are both Sauron. Is insane what she can do. And I apologize if she is listening to this. I do not remember your name, but you are quite impressive. He is, on the other hand, like the metal guy, the metal musician of Mississippi. He constantly releases grindcore and death metal, just constantly, like left and right. It's crazy.
It's wild. It's a wild time.
People amaze me all the time. There was a few weeks ago I was judging a contest and a guy made his wig from a 3D printer. Like he 3D printed his wigs and he put like lights in the wig so that he could like, have a little remote and change the colors. It was insane.
What was the material? That has to be so hard to balance.
It was
Just PLA?
yeah, just filament. I don't know much about 3D printing. That is something, an aspect of cosplay I'm not familiar with.
That's a great area.
But yeah, just whatever fit. It wasn't resin, I can tell you that. But it was crazy.
Yeah, the PLA, if you print it like, just strands of it, you can hit it with a heat gun and then like kind of mold it into whatever shape you want to. So that's possible.
Oh, cool.
I guess. If that's what it is, or they also have like more flexible materials you can use too. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. But I'd have to see it to be like, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah. But that's a pretty cool idea. I mean, there's a lot more people are getting really creative with like just models and designs and things they're doing with their 3D printers. So it's really awesome.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure it kind of makes things a little bit more difficult, but for you sometimes. But like you said, you have to show your work, and I guess the big thing is like, yes, you can commission a cosplay, but like you said, if you're going to win a craftsmanship award, you have to have made it. You have to show your work. So just to clarify for everybody right out there, yes, it could be a handmade cosplay that someone else made for you, but you do have to be the one that makes it in order for it to count, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Either that or
somebody can copy your stuff for you.
Yeah. Or whoever did make it, if you did commission it, they have to be there and they need to be the one to win the award since.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. So the girl that I mentioned last week who lied about her cosplay and won an award.
She was sentenced to death.
The maker was not there. The maker was like international. So it was just, those situations, big no-no. But if the maker is there, if the person you commission it from is there, then that, the maker will get the award.
So that raises an interesting question. So if you're a person who likes to make things, but you're not necessarily the cosplaying type, like you maybe aren't an extrovert or whatever, so you could, in theory, enter a cosplay contest if you've made something and you're just using someone else as your model, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You could be technically you could be a master level cosplayer without ever having to go on stage. Which is kind of crazy to think about.
You're not going to win the performance award.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Could your person win the performance award?
If you're in the masquerade type thing like we do, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have a performance award for the well, anyway, depends on
stage presence kind of counts in, it counts. It counts for something in craftsmanship cosplay and craftsmanship competitions, but they aren't on the level of like skit competitions you'll see at some of like the bigger cons and whatnot.
Right. Also, for the performance, keep it brief, y'all, for real. A little something is
song and dance, baby.
Oh, you ain't gonna. Here's the thing: if you're on the stage with me, you ain't grabbing the microphone.
That's not happening.
That is rule number one. Do not hand the microphone to someone. Don't you can hold it up to someone, but don't hand someone the microphone and let them have it. Don't ever do that. I see it happen on the internet sometimes. And usually it works out okay, but man, that one time it doesn't work out is a real bad time.
Yeah, socked in the kisser.
That's my lesson for today. Don't hand people the microphone ever.
Hey, look, have you ever been around Cheryl when she's out in the foyer? Cheryl is our stage manager.
I usually don't get to hang around Cheryl during the show because she's running.
Let me tell you what Cheryl does.
Yeah.
She goes out in the hall and she's got that really loud voice that you can hear across 2 counties.
Yeah.
And she says, "Do not jump off my stage. Do not do cartwheels on my stage. Do not pull out your weapons on my stage." And then Louisiana, some gal Show jumped off of Cheryl's stage, and that wasn't a good day.
No.
His ass ended up in the frying pan that day.
Yeah, she sure did.
That was a real young person, a kid, definitely knew not to. And I said, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Is we're just going to add the caveat. If you jump off the stage, it's just an automatic disqualification. So if you're coming to any one of our shows, Mobile Bay Anime Fest, Southern Nerds Fest, Alabama Comic-Con, Preserve Halloween, and you jump off the stage, you ain't winning nothing because it doesn't matter how good your cosplay is. You're disqualified. The end. Yeah.
We don't like to award safety risks.
Yeah. Also, that they also another cautionary tale. They definitely did not stick the landing.
No, they busted.
And they just fell right on their butt and did not look anywhere as cool as they thought they were going to look whenever it happened.
Oh man,
I feel bad for them because
I didn't. They did that to themselves.
Well, look, that was that embarrassment that they clearly did not get in high school that they clearly got then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still feel bad for them because
Nah, I don't.
I feel like if I were to have jumped off the stage after being told no and didn't stick the landing, I would probably have to move to Mexico. I mean, I'd like,
Yeah.
like you never,
Yeah.
Never going back to that con ever again.
I'm never going back to that state.
Moonbeam's like, if you will know if I ever mess up good because I'll just disappear.
You'll never.
The rest
I'll
of
be
your
gone.
life will be sepia toned.
Moving to Alaska.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true. I think I feel like you had one other point that you had sent to us as well earlier that you wanted to talk about, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was you had said.
No, you're
I hope
good.
it's like secret cosplayer slang.
What?
Like secret
here all day.
cosplayer slang.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
the slang that's only known in the cosplayer community.
Oh, sandbagging.
Yeah, sandbagging is a big one. That is a big one.
Yeah.
Never heard that before. We've heard of teabagging. It's not the same thing.
No.
Yeah. No.
So is that something different in the cosplayer community, or is that what I think it is?
It's very different.
What, teabagging?
No.
Sandbagging.
No. Okay, no. What-
So sandbagging is when a cosplayer, typically thought to be like a master cosplayer, someone with a really good costume, will go and compete and win at multiple conventions. That's what we coined sandbagging, just because like it's kind of crummy to do if you know you're a master cosplayer and you know that costume's gonna win, and then you just go keep racking up awards
in the same costume.
Yeah, in the same costume. Yeah.
It's not exactly frowned upon for a master cosplayer that knows they're the bomb to go around to little shows and just clean house at everyone because they know. I mean,
that kind of, it's definitely allowed, but it's just kind of, I don't know. The thing about competing and winning in a costume, typically it's seen as once you compete in that costume, you can't compete in it again unless you go from like a really tiny local show to something like Dragon Con, because they're obviously on very different levels. There's very different levels of experience there.
Yeah.
But
not to cut you off, Retta.
No, you're good.
I had somebody say something similar to that, and I just kind of want to address it. When you say going from a very small show to a very big show, as far as what is successful, a successful event to one person, is different for everybody. So let's just say we had a cosplayer that won at an event, with 80 people in the whole event.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it was a successful event to the person putting it on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
In a library or a coffee shop or something. And then they're like, they won there, but they had competition. It wasn't like, they just went and
no one else showed up.
No one else showed up, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how you work that out.
It's just kind of an unwritten rule in the cosplay community of like, if you go compete at Dragon Con and you win, because Dragon Con is one of the biggest cons in the Southeast. I'm just throwing it out there as an example.
Yeah.
Don't go compete in your local library con because that is scummy. Give the chance for the more inexperienced cosplayer to potentially get an award type.
But don't compete in the same costume.
In the same costume, yes. Correct.
If you want to compete, I don't know.
It's just in the same costume that sandbagging applies to.
Yeah, it's the same costume.
Yeah, because that's just scummy to know that you're gonna win and just not giving anyone else even a fighting chance.
Well, and I think it should be said too that sure there might be a lot of cosplayers in an area, but that cosplay community is smaller than you think, right? Everybody seems to know everybody of note. Yeah.
Especially the craftsmanship cosplay community, with the rise of with the lack of a better term, like fast fashion costumes coming out, cosplays.
Yeah.
Like there's whole companies producing cosplays now.
Yeah.
So the
great, it's
craftsmanship
fine,
cosplay community, yeah, it's absolutely valid. But just in terms of, especially like the craftsmanship competition scene is very niche.
Yeah.
People in a local area are gonna know like everyone.
Yeah, we had a cosplayer that's done that's worked with us. I don't want to name any names. But like she came to one of our events several years ago, and like she's good. Like she's good. You know, she's like master level, won a bunch of awards. She does all kind of stuff. And she came in to be in the costume contest, but she like pulled me aside and was like, just I don't want to win. I just want to do like I just want to walk.
I just want to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, just show it off.
I just want to walk and show it off, but I want to be taken out of the running for anything. She wasn't coming on and being like, I don't want to take anything from any of these these peasants. She didn't sound like that.
Yeah.
She was very humble and cool.
That cosplayer's name, Albert Einstein.
But yeah, it was really cool of her because like, she probably would have won,
Yeah.
It was like I don't need to win, I don't want to win, I just want to strut.
Yeah, just a little spotlight.
Yeah.
Get a little photo on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, she was cool for that.
That's cool. That's dope.
Yeah.
I think well, it it's always a challenge, I guess. I mean, the thing is, anytime there's some sort of performance involved, I guess there's a little bit of ego involved, right? And you got to learn how to check that ego. So yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
I say that as the guy doing this and talking into a microphone, telling everyone to check their ego. But I mean, I know how it looks. Okay, sorry, Retta, what were you saying?
No, you're good. That actually kind of ties back into one of the points I had messaged about, this talk tonight is just like something we will not award is going to be bad sportsmanship, because we have, as the cosplay contest judges, we have eyes and ears all over the con. We're friends with the volunteers. We're friends with the photographers. We're friends with staff. If before the con, if it's after the con, then unfortunately it is what it is. We've already made the decisions and dished out awards and whatnot. But if it's before the contest and we hear that you've been a jerk to someone, whether it's another competitor or not, we're not going to award that. Even if you're going to be best in show, we're not going to award that behavior.
Do you think that there will ever be an era of acceptable trash talk? Because here's the thing. I've been watching a lot of Larry Bird videos recently.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
The basketball?
Yes.
Yeah, the basketball player. And let me tell you, that man was revered for his trash talk. He would go up to like the opposing team and he would just be like, I'm just looking at who's going to be in second place today.
Yeah. Larry Bird, like, here's the thing. If you're under the age of 30 or you never watch basketball, the Larry Bird you see when he does like a State Farm commercial or something like that, or an Allstate commercial or whatever, you're being sold a bill of goods. That is not the grandpa that they put on your TV is not the real Larry Bird. He was a legendary trash talker for real. Like, just YouTube any of his like trash talk stories, and there's going to be tons and tons of like basketball legends telling you stories of him just like verbally destroying people on the basketball court.
I had no idea. I thought that he was like, Mr. Polite.
Right.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Total opposite.
along those same lines, because I just want like I want there to be like, I mean, I don't want there to be a negative community. I don't want there to be a bad community, but at the same time, I want to hear like I want to hear some like cosplayer trash talk. There is a line in a film called The FP, which is like one of those like 80s style movies, although it was made like much later, 80s style movies, like, I'm down at the bottom and I got to rise back to the top sort of movies.
Yeah.
But it's about basically DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. And there is a line in that movie that I will never forget. And it's one that I hope that I will hear at a con one of these days. Antagonist walks into the DDR room. He's like, "What's you for Halloween, a bitch?" And I'm hoping to hear that.
You quoted it all the time. Oh yeah, I've heard that.
I'm hoping to hear that from a cosplayer. Just I need cosplayer trash talk, but I don't need like a bad like cosplay horrific.
Yeah.
I just want to hear that just casual back and forth, like, oh yeah, I got this, I got game, and here's what I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, if it's playful banter, whatever. But if we hear that you are like putting another cosplayer down, like just saying that their work is awful, like that's the stuff that we mean. Or like even like if you've harassed someone and we hear about it, or if you're giving like volunteer staff a hard time, like playful banner is one thing, but like just being a jerk is.
Oh, if we if somebody gives the volunteer staff a hard time, we give them a swirly.
Oh, absolutely.
We give them a swirly. It's happened before. It'll happen again.
100%.
It's actually something you automatically consent to whenever you buy a ticket. You don't realize that. It's on the ticket.
You read the fine print when you come in. We have the filming in progress. Progress.
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah, you said progress. That's the word.
Whatever it says, I wrote it.
But also, we have a clause for swirlies. Swirlies in progress.
If you read the fine print, it's like act onions, you will be put in skillet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hey, Retta, I heard that you had a few trivia questions.
Oh yeah, here it is, y'all. Look, the tables have turned. It seems
the turns of
tables.
I do. Are y'all ready for some cosplay trivia?
We are. I am. How's this working? How are we gonna do this?
Okay, so I've got 5 questions.
Yeah.
Some of them have multiple choice.
Okay.
Some of them do not. The ones that don't, y'all should be fine. Maybe.
All right,
we'll
cool.
see.
Did we just blurt it out when we know it?
Let me finish my question, and then just whoever first says something says it.
Okay.
Are y'all ready?
I like it. Yeah.
Behavior.
All right. Number 1, start off with a fairly basic one. In what unit of measurement do you use to buy fabric?
Yards.
Yeah. Good job.
Ooh.
Moonbeam's got a point.
Moonbeam's done some sewing before. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, so have I, and I should have known that.
I'm a woman. I'm also barefoot and pregnant.
I was just thinking because you're from Neshoba County.
Is that
I thought that was a Neshoba County thing.
No, that's the newest Discovery show that she's going to tune into during the hotel days. Barefoot and pregnant, only on Discovery.
There's no fabric in those shows I watch at hotels.
That's true. Not a single.
No, they're all naked. They're naked and afraid.
And afraid.
All right, fine, Moonbeam. 1 point for you. Let's see.
All right. Here's a multiple choice one.
Yeah.
What is the structural part of a corset called? Is it boning, riblets, or channels?
Boning.
Who said it first?
I think I gotta go with Grant. Moonbeam, you wasted time by saying it's.
Ah.
I knew it was boning before you gave out the multiple choice.
I knew it had something to do with like either like ribs or bones or something. And then when she said boning, I was like, that's what it is. Yeah.
I was gonna say crumping.
Crumping.
Yeah. No, that's dancing.
That's close to a wig technique. It's called crimping.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
So it's 1 for Grant, 1 for Moonbeam. Here's one y'all should know. In 2013, the Sci-Fi Channel debuted a television show about cosplay. What is it called?
Oh,
Battlestar Galactica.
No, it's
I have multiple choice answers if y'all would like to hear them.
Okay, yeah.
All right. We've got Face Off, Heroes of Cosplay, or Cosplay Masters.
Oh, definitely Face Off.
It was B, Heroes of Cosplay.
Moonbeam's got it.
Oh, no, it's
there is
got
one that's like specific to
in it.
sci-fi type thing. Oh, anyway, maybe not, but
hey, look, didn't one of them like they go to Planet Comic Con and there's these 2 gals that like make kitty cat wigs out of wool and one of the girls is like, I'm allergic to wool, and she still makes her like costume out of wool, so she's like having this allergic reaction.
Oh
Look, that's just good
no.
TV right there.
It is good TV.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
only
gotta have a
The
little
drama.
Mm-hmm. All right, fine. Tied up. Let's see. Let's see
All
who ends
right.
up the champ and who ends up the chumps, y'all.
Number 4. Here's another multiple choice one for you. Which cosplayer works in collaboration with Joann's Fabrics to create fabric and sewing patterns? Is it Kamui Cosplay, Jessica Negri, or Yaya Han?
Yaya Han.
Yep, Grant's
Boom,
got
I
it.
knew that one.
What is wrong with you? What?
I'm
How do you
plugged
know
in,
that?
y'all. I'm plugged in, okay?
He got his ear to the ground.
Grant
Yeah,
knows
she's
some
like-
things.
Yeah. I've seen the displays. She has like standees and stuff in the stores.
I actually have one of those displays in
Look,
my apartment right now.
Yeah.
Can we have this guy like disqualified for having previous knowledge?
Yeah. Hey, Brandon's got a cutout of Danny DeVito. You should bring your cutout of Yaya Han.
Is it actual size? Is it the correct height?
Maybe.
I don't know how tall he is for real.
Yeah.
Does
Look,
it
here,
seem like it's right? Yeah.
Like in my mind, yes.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Just check on that.
Like like whenever they're filming, like It's Always Sunny, they have him on 4-step stools.
They probably do,
Yeah.
just to boost him a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think we have one left, right?
We
see if
do,
someone can
and
find
this one is worth 2 points because this phrase has 2 meanings.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, it's gonna be secret cosplayer lingo.
it is.
Oh,
It's gonna be a phrase of the community. What does cosplays not consent mean?
don't.
That means no ass grabbing.
Also means don't just be taking pictures of folks without asking them to.
Yeah.
I feel like
also-
there's not
That
a
means
lot
just-
of wrong answers in this.
Oh, for sure.
Also,
That-
don't
that
just
means-
don't be talking to people inappropriately just because they're dressed.
That
You
means just because you can see the bottom part of the booty cheek, don't mean you ought to look at it.
Just because your idol Sean,
Yeah,
Peter
yeah,
the
at least
Cone
don't-
did.
Yeah, at least don't get all like eye level with it and like just stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you're dressed like a character
Yeah.
might be, into something
Sure.
No.
Mhm.
that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
there's
Mhm.
still a stranger, a human under that costume.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm
Treat 'em with
always a character
respect.
into things, and nobody does anything to me. So that's keep doing that.
But yeah, that was a point to Grant and Moonbeam because y'all said the photos and the touching inappropriately without consent.
Yeah.
So that means y'all are tied up.
So
We're tied-
do you have
no,
a
I believe I
tiebreaker?
was ahead by a point, and then we both got a point, right? So that put me ahead a point.
Oh,
Hold on. Retta's got the
Hold on,
scoreboard. She's
I
looking
tallied
at it.
them. I did tally
yeah,
them.
she's
got-
let's allow Florida to call this election.
It's still too early to call. Too close.
I can have a little tiebreaker question if y'all want.
Oh, what's the
Got it. Yeah,
tiebreaker?
let's hear it.
Here's just a little cheeky one.
Hold back.
Okay.
What is Retters Cosplay favorite animal?
A possum.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Moonbeam wins.
That one wasn't even fair. That wasn't even fair.
Good choice.
Yeah, hell yeah, it
Ran
was.
way longer
Because-
than any of us.
So
have.
listen, Grant, you're the only one. You're the only one between me and Brandon that has green room access.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And Retta had a possum birthday cake.
Wait, I don't do.
At
do
my
I have
very
green
first
room
show with
access?
y'all.
That's right.
No,
I do.
Huh?
Do I have
Brandon
green
thinks
room
he-
access?
Yeah. Does Brandon have green room access? That's what he's asking about.
No, I said you were the only one
Of the three of us.
of the
yeah,
three
yeah,
of us that does.
Yeah.
Me?
They don't even let me go in there.
No, I am.
I still go
Oh,
because
okay.
F.
Moonbeam, how do you not have access at your own show?
She has access. She just doesn't use it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Whatever, I do use it. I go in there and I knock and I peek in. I'm like, Charlie, give me some cookies.
You knock on the green room door when you go in?
I just make sure nobody's in there. I don't want.
Why does no one have to be in there if you're going in there to get cookies?
Like
Also,
I
I'm pretty
feel
sure
like
you could have a cookie.
Like, Charlie, there any Red Bulls in there?
Yeah.
I feel like I would have to like soften my entrance into the green room somehow.
Just
Like
come in like Kramer, just blow the door down.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I try to like, even if I'm gonna be in there for a minute, I gotta like, I stay off to the side and just, you know, try not to, you know, whatever. Unless someone like someone says something, I start talking to someone or whatever. But, you know, I'll go in there and like grab a cup of coffee and then I'll leave, or I'll talk to, you know, if like we're about to go on, I'll circle up with whoever if we haven't, you know, done anything already or talked about something already or whatever. Then, you know, that'll be what I do in there. But
I've had talent come up to me and ask me like where the green room is, and I'm like, shit.
yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of our folks are staff and volunteers. They don't even necessarily know where it is because it's like,
Yeah,
what would even be the point of knowing?
That's because we are just booty holes about the green room. Like, don't go in there. Don't bug the guests. Don't go in there.
I go in the green room, and here's what I do, Moonbeam. I go in the green room, and I get on my Instagram live, and I'm like, hey, I'm here with all these famous people at Louisiana. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Now, it's just, you know, in the past we've had, you know, and you know, we've had people go in there and want to chat up somebody that's just trying to eat their lunch.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk. Everybody wants to be in there.
I guess here's the thing that people don't realize.
While I'm eating or feeding my daughter, what did Eminem say in that song?
That's right. That's exactly what he said. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. Like the thing about like doing conventions, like it definitely runs down your social battery. And you do a lot of what I have called on the show emotional labor, you know, and that's exhausting. And sometimes you just need to go and like eat a sandwich for a minute, and then you can get back out there and do it some more.
For sure.
It doesn't mean that they don't love doing it.
Every single day of my life.
That's right. It doesn't mean they don't love doing it. It doesn't mean they don't want to be there. But sometimes you do just need a breather, and that's all it is. Yeah. So
let me go grab a Dr. Pepper, and I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll get back.
Yeah. And we're real strict about it because, you know, we just don't want people going in and bothering the guests, and you know, and even I put a sign that I have a sign that goes up that's like, listen, if you need to get on the phone and conduct some business, you know, let us know so we can put you somewhere else.
The greener room.
The greener room. The greenest room. Yeah.
I love that.
Room.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, look, y'all, our producer's giving me the signal to wrap this whole thing up. Retta, again, thank you for stopping by again a second time. Tell everybody all your handles out there to find you real quick.
Thank you for having me again. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Retters Cosplay. That's RETTERS Cosplay. Yeah, it's just those three. So I have a Twitter, but it's very dead. Don't go look at it.
That's all right. Yeah,
good, as all Twitter accounts should be.
Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of the state of Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Well, look, you can find the Humbl Show on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. You should follow us all there, as well as make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're having a party here every single week. We will be back here next week with another little visit here on the Humbl Show. But until then, stay humble.